Hello everyone, Mike here for Insider Gaming. Joined with me now, you just saw it on the Insider Gaming Showcase, Where the Chips Fall from Coquito Games. Jerori De Jesus, thank you so much for joining me here.
Thank you for having me.
So, Where the Chips Fall, the biggest pitch you can make is, what if Balatro was blackjack? And to me, before we talk about, these are the types of games I love, so me doing this interview, it makes sense because, one, I'm a gambling man.
Me too.
Two, I'm a rogue-like man. It's just geared to me. What was your inspiration behind this?
I have a bigger pitch.
Okay.
I made this game so my mom could have a game to play.
Well, now you're getting all emotional. Thanks.
Yeah, well,
and we're
yeah.
gonna no.
Please cut that. No, I'm kidding. I'm serious. My mom taught me how to play blackjack.
Yeah.
Actually, she's very clever. When we were kids, we would get our allowance, and then she'd be like, "You can double your allowance if you can beat me in blackjack." I never once doubled my allowance.
Because she counted cards.
No.
No.
She's just a shark. She knows what she's doing. I did not. I didn't know the rules. I hadn't read the book yet.
Yeah.
So I wanted a game that was kind of paying homage to that lesson that I learned through my mom, and also something that she could enjoy and have fun with. The chip mechanic was inspired by Balatro, right? That's where the kind of the Joker ideas came from. But playing at a familiar space so that she could pick it up and then run with it and see how deep the rabbit hole can go for gaming, that was the impetus for this game.
Yeah. So it's a game. I mean, how long have you been in development
About a year
at this point? From start to finish, and you are at this stage. I mean, I've played it. You've demoed it here. We're filming this at GDC. You've had some feedback. What's been the feedback like as more people are getting their hands on this game?
Really positive. People are really enjoying the game. The biggest thing, we had a bunch of bugs yesterday at the Black and Gaming Festival.
Yeah.
And despite the bugs, people really enjoyed the game. They're like, I could see myself playing this
They see
for
the idea
hours.
behind what you're going for.
So I think the biggest thing is just polish, right? We got to add in that really fulfilling, crunchy tutorial that'll get players in the headspace for playing this game. And then I think the next step is just letting them explore the depth, right? That's where it really kicks in. We locked a lot of the advanced content behind upgrades and difficulty modifiers so that you could ease into the game because there's a lot of systems going into it.
Yeah. So before we get more into the game and the feature set and the chips and those abilities, what is your background in game development?
Sure.
What got you started?
So I'm not a game dev naturally. I actually have a bachelor's in anthropology. I went to grad school, was doing a PhD, and I was miserable. I don't think I've ever been more miserable in my life than trying to get a PhD, undiagnosed ADHD and unmedicated. So I dropped out.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm not a doctor. Don't call me doctor, please. But I needed something to do with my life. Kind of pivoted into programming, and then I accidentally built a game. I was trying to pitch an app.
Okay.
That was more Pokemon Go before that existed. This is in 2014, 2015.
Yeah.
So Pokemon Go wasn't out yet, and we had this idea for a monster hunting in your city, right? So but it was more like a World of Warcraft inspired, right? I realized it was a game, not an app, but that's where I kind of got the idea that maybe I'm good at design. Maybe that's what I want to be doing. And I went back and got a master's from the University of Central Florida, the Florida Interactive Entertainment Academy, or FIA for short.
Yeah.
And from there, I've been just taking off my career as a narrative designer. So I've worked on Madden 20, I believe, Marvel Strike Force, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Saros.
So you've been around.
Yeah.
And then what made it feel like this is the time you wanted to do? I know you said you made it for a game for your mother to play, but what made it now I'm doing this, it's worth it? Is it a feel-good story, or is it the story we've heard quite a bit?
It's a little both. It was I got laid off.
That's what I was, That's what I meant. Is it the feel-good story, or is it
the feel-good part is, it was good timing, because for me, I was I have enough experience and knowledge that I can just do this.
Yeah.
Right. And my mom was helping me, pay bills and things like that. So I was I want to get back to her, and the timing was just kind of right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Where the Chips Fall itself, let's dive into it.
Sure.
With these types of games, it's all about that gameplay loop. If it's, especially when you're building any sort of a deck builder, roguelike, whatever it may be, you have to have that loop that hooks people. What was the loop for you that really made you feel I'm onto something here?
Yeah. Gambling. Gambling with your abilities. Games are too afraid to do that because they don't want to take those away from you, right?
Yeah.
But I thought it was a really cool concept of like, hey, if you get blackjack here, you actually get a secret chip that the game will just hand to you that has like an extra powerful ability. So like, and it's random. So you can get $100 chip on the first hand if you get blackjack. But you're also now gambling the abilities you have. So if you lose, you're losing abilities.
Yes.
This actually is kind of a curse design problem for us too, right? Because it's a negative feedback loop. How do you help the player when they're in a losing situation?
So you have the negative gameplay loop, and then, but you also run into that issue. You have somebody down their luck, things aren't going well. It can turn them away from coming back and playing. So you have to how do you stop that from happening?
So in gambling, they just normally take your money.
Yeah.
But we can't do that. We have a mechanic in there called the double or nothing, where it starts off at a 1 in 4 chance, and every lost hand increases the odds by 5%. So if you're losing, there's a chance that the game will throw you a bone. It lets you rerun the same bet you just ran with a new hand, and if you win, it gives you a bonus chip. So you're actually getting more out of the double or nothing than you would have on the base hand to make up for the fact that you're probably on a losing streak. Right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it won't trigger, it's chance-based, right? And I think it leans into the themes of the game, the gambling, the kind of Vegas style that we're going for with the Robo Heroes art style and the big band jazz soundtrack, right? We're invoking that spirit of like Vegas in the 1920s.
With these chips, some of them, I mean, when you start the game, they're very basic abilities on these chips, like, take away 1 score from the dealer, add 1 to your score, like to your hand. What's the process like on the abilities you're adding to them? Like, you obviously want some really good ones, but you don't want them to be too overpowered. Mm-hmm. There's this fine line between something being good and fair and being completely OP or busted in either good or bad.
I think I borrow from Mark Rosewater when it comes to designing things like this. Players should feel something.
Yeah.
Right? They should love it or hate it, but they should feel something. So if something's really good, we just make it more rare. And they should really feel happy and joy and luck when they get that, right? Like, oh man, this run's going so well, it's gonna be great. And when they get the bad chips, it's like, man, I'm not getting anything, right? We use the booster pack system. So you open a booster pack, you get X number of chips, more chips the rarer the booster pack. So you have better odds of finding the rare chips. And then a rarity system based on that. So on a legendary pack, right, you're gonna get the best chips in the game.
Yeah.
You're spending $100 a pack and you only pick 1. So you gotta make it worthwhile. Whereas like a common, basic, generic pack, you're just getting the basic chips. There's like a 1 in 10 chance you'll get a really good chip out of there.
Yeah.
But, you're getting the +1s and the -1s and maybe like destroy a card at random, destroy this chip. So the idea behind it is really let's let luck decide, but more importantly, let's make sure the players are feeling good when that luck is really running well for them.
Yeah. So what are some of the favorite chips that you've created so far?
Ooh, okay. There's one that was fun to tinker with, which is it changes the value of your cards.
Okay.
So when you play the chip, it'll alter 1 card at random in your hand to a 9 or a 10, which could be really good for you, right? But it could be really bad if you're like sitting on an 18.
Yeah.
And now you have like a ace, a 2, a 5, and another ace or something, right? And it changes that ace to a 10 and you just bumped over. That feels bad. There's also ones that are like, because the dealers have their own abilities, and those are a lot of fun to design because then you play around what the dealer can do. So like Ace Lock, which is an ability that locks the value of an ace to either a 1 or an 11. It can't be either or. It's only one anymore. Which is, I think the 11 one's a little more brutal to play around because you see that ace, you're like, oh, I have a 13. No, you don't. You have a 22 now.
Right.
So, but my personal favorite chip in the game are the cheats, actually, which have really powerful abilities like modifying the blackjack score so that it's now 20 instead of 21.
Yeah.
Or dealer cards always being dealt face up for the rest of the time you're at the table, right?
Yeah.
These kind of impactful abilities, like letting you hide a card up your sleeve, things of that nature, really allow you to stack the deck in your favor.
How has it been doing this? How big is the team working on the game right now?
It's about 6 of us. So I have a UI artist, a character artist, 2 programmers, myself, and a producer.
With a game like this and being such a small team, how does the process, if you can kind of give everybody watching like an insight to how the sauce is made, really?
Sure, yeah.
Creating these features and just the discussions and how you go about with a small team, because you don't have to worry about too many cooks in a way, but when you are small, intimate, there could be a lot of harder headbutting, I guess you could say. So what's it like when you're coming up with ideas and brainstorming gameplay mechanics, new chips to add, new ways to take... Oh, that's turning off. Okay. Let me start that over then. He's probably on the phone with another call. When you have a small team like this, and it's not as big so where you don't have the too many cooks kind of issue, but when it's 6 people, you could run into an issue where, people get very passionate about what they want, and you have to make that decision. But because it's so tight-knit, there's always that risk of jeopardizing, relationships and stuff like that and taking things personal. When you are a team like this and you're coming up with mechanics and ideas, how do you guys kind of navigate that journey of coming up with these?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing for us is vulnerability. We're a team that believes in being open and honest with each other and being vulnerable and allowing each other to speak their mind freely. Honestly, when it comes to design, I don't really have a lot of conflicts. I handpicked this team of people who are good friends that I could trust, that also have the skills to make it happen. And they are the best team in the world I could ask for. Are
there people that have worked with you in the past, or
they're
a mix, or
a mixed bag? So, for example, the first programmer to come on board was a friend of mine from Orlando. He has worked at AMD for 15 years, wanted to get out of graphics programming into games. We've hung out at parties. We've actually just gotten to know each other really well, and I trust him very much. And then our producer was recommended to me by a friend. They wrangled clowns for a living, and I'm like, if you can wrangle clowns, you can definitely wrangle this set of clowns, right? So
usually I hear rodeo clowns where they wrangle the bulls. I've never heard of a wrangle clowns.
They were in the circus, literally. And so they took that experience and turned it into running a ship for us, right? And so they're all good friends of mine. They trust me, and I couldn't have asked for a better privilege and responsibility at the same time.
Right.
I need to deliver for them and honor the faith they've put in me. But as a consequence of this, it means I don't get a lot of conflict on design. I can actually be like, hey, I think we should do this. And for the most part, they trust my judgment. I will obviously ask them for their input and be like, do you think this is working? Is there anything we want to change here? For example, I did the initial UI pass, and I knew it was bad. So when we got the UI artist on, I was like, hey, man, please go to town on this. Like, please make just work.
I trust you. Just do it.
I trust whatever you want to do. It's got to look better than whatever I did. I give some minimal direction when it comes to like art, for example. So I'll be like, okay, this is working. This isn't working. But I trust my artists. I trust the programmers that they're going to make it work. I can code, but I'm not going to be in there like, you need to use this function, right? Like, I'm not going to. I hire good people.
Yeah, the goal is to hire people that you don't have to micromanage.
Exactly.
And like you feel like in ways some games do suffer because micromanaging can hurt.
Yeah.
Like you're bringing these people, you're instilling faith, and that probably, at least from my experience, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong or you can agree, when you have that faith from the person, the director of a game, it motivates you more than anything else.
Yeah, because
there's no stress. There's they're trusting me. Like, you have that passion. It kind of like reinvigorates the type of thing with what you're doing.
When I was working at like Saros, or I got my first lead role on a indie studio at Lunacy Studios for a project called The House of Hikmah.
Okay.
It is a 3D puzzle platformer about exploring grief through an Islamic lens. I am not Arab, and I was given the role of lead narrative designer on this game about Arab culture. And it was through my connections with Rami Ismail, who recommended me to this role.
Yeah.
And the studio head had utmost faith in me, and I was like, I have to deliver.
Especially when it's a situation like that where you're not part of the culture, but you want to show it as much respect as you possibly can.
So given that responsibility was invigorating, like you said, right? But it was a responsibility and an opportunity. And I think that's what matters. And so I try to give the same thing to my team. I try to give the hardest part, honestly, with this team was negotiating like salary, right? Because we're all working on a rev share model. I want to be fair and equitable.
Yeah.
I want to give them what they're worth, but I am not a business person. I don't know what those numbers look like. I consulted some business people, used their information, and the team was like, this doesn't work. And we had to have like an honest, difficult conversation. Like, okay, this doesn't work for you. What will, right? And we actually had a whole conversation about like, how do we have this in plain English instead of legalese? Throw that out. Let's talk in plain English. And then we'll get that to a lawyer to draft up. That was kind of the idea.
Have there been any moments during the development of the game where something came together in a way that you weren't anticipating? You're like, oh my God, this works fantastic.
The UI. Like I said, my first pass to the UI, I took some notes from friends and tried to make it work, and things were kind of not coming together. I gave our UI artist, his name is Sosa. I gave Sosa, I was like, please do something with this. He's like, don't worry, I've been planning on fixing this for like a month now. You just
I'm way ahead of you, dude. I just needed the green light.
Give me the reins. I go into Plastic, which is our version of Perforce, right? Like our ICM or VCS, right? I can't remember. Anyway, I go into Plastic, download things, open the game, and my jaw dropped. I was like, oh my God, this is what I knew the game could look like. I just didn't know how to make this happen. And I got Sosa on a call, and I just was like, thank you so much. Like this game is gonna look so like we had to redo a new trailer. We got all new assets on the Steam page. Actually, we've gotten more traffic ever since then too, which has been nice. Right? Yeah. The trailer is now using the new art assets, and yeah, that UI coming together really was a clincher moment for us.
Where are you at this stage in development of Where the Chips Fall?
We're looking to launch in the summer sometime, mid to late summer. So we're pretty late stage. The big thing right now is our tutorialization. Doing some polish pass and fixing some bugs. So I would say we're like alpha-ish.
As far as, and this is kind of jumping ahead a bit for future plans, it's obviously launching on PC via Steam. Do you have ideas of taking it elsewhere?
I think mobile might be a target. So this game was initially concepted because we were working on a different game.
That's usually how a lot of games, it seems, at least from these, like that seems to happen a lot. We were working on this, but then we came up with this really amazing idea and we just went with this instead.
That's actually not what happened for us. So
really?
We're working on a game and we still want to make that other game. I think that game is going to be important. It's a hip-hop JRPG called Concrete Rose. I've had the idea in my head for 10 years. We're actually ramping up pre-production in April on that project. But this game was an easy win. And the team, we were struggling. We couldn't find funding. It was a rough, brutal past couple of years for that.
Yeah.
And we needed something that would be an easy win for the team, something we could pull together in a year, and something that people believed in. So when I pitched this to the team, they were like, some of them played Balatro, they're like, okay. And some of them hadn't, and they're kind of skeptical. But the minute I showed them, like I built the prototype by myself, I showed it to them, and they were like, okay, yeah, this has legs. And we ran with it.
Where as you work on the game, and where can people find information?
Sure. So we have a Steam page, obviously, Where the Chips Fall on Steam. We also have a website, www.coquitogames.com. So that's COQUITO games.com. And you can also follow us on Blue Sky, same thing, Coquito Games, or myself, Jarori De Jesus. It's pretty easy to find me. I'm the only person with my name on the internet. So,
so you think?
I've Googled this.
I know. I didn't realize how many Mike Straws there were. I thought like, oh, I'm the only one. I'm like, no, there's people who are like C-level executives. I'm like,
there's one Jarari out there. Purnell, I believe, his last name is a basketball player. And obviously he has to die because there can only be one.
Yeah.
So we have to duel it out like Highlander.
You heard it. Get in contact. I'll sell tickets.
Please do not. This man's going to murder me.
I'll sell tickets. We'll air it live. We'll do it live. Jarori, I can't thank you enough. Where the Chips Fall. Wishlist it now. I've had it. I'm excited to see where it goes.
Thank you.
From here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for the opportunity to promote this to more people.
Awesome.
Thanks, Mike.
Perfect.